Welcome to the podcast. Have you seen that recent reaction to the Victor Gao interview with Danny Haifeng? It's like a layered breakdown of really controversial moments, you know?
Yeah, I have. And what's super interesting is how the reaction um, dives into the content while also highlighting those key details like view counts and auto generated transcripts.
Exactly. It's not just about the surface level interview itself, but the way the reaction video is like interweaving viewer engagement with deeper
Right.
commentary. It sort of shows how engaging this format is on platforms like YouTube.
For sure, the reaction being posted by Ruben Tech adds that extra flavor, yeah, because his style seems to capture not only the content of Victor Gao's remarks, but also the underlying political and market commentary.
Absolutely. And what really caught my eye was the way the reaction video references Victor Gao's brutal warning. I mean, it's so blunt about the implications on political figures, even hinting at Trump related matters.
Yep, super intriguing. Right, and even though the video details get a bit skimmed over, what I find fascinating is how it hints at a broader conversation. It's not just a reaction to an interview, but a dive into how those narratives are built up on YouTube.
Yeah, it's like, there's layers of discussion here. It's not simply reacting, it's like contextualizing the interview's fallout with like meta analysis on viewership, transcript availability, and even those auto dubbed audio tracks that are mentioned in the details.
Exactly. And speaking of transcripts, it's interesting that the reaction video includes a transcript along with the auto generated dubbing. That really shows how technology is both supporting and sometimes, yeah, complicating these discussions.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the added layer of recommended content like the Huawei Windsor one in China, defeating Apple and US sanctions, which creates this surrounding ecosystem of political economic commentary.
Right, it's like a whole media ecosystem, yes. Exactly. And it makes you wonder how these reactions um, fit into the larger narrative of global politics and tech wars. I mean, the suggestion, even if indirectly, that these interviews play into a broader geopolitical discourse is pretty compelling.
Yeah, and I'd even say the whole presentation is a masterpiece of modern digital commentary. You have the intimate details, like the exact view counts, publication dates, and even how the content is auto dubbed. It's rich with context.
True, it really is. One thing I do find interesting, though, is that sometimes the reaction seems to um, gloss over some parts of the original interview. Like, why choose to focus more on the meta aspects rather than critically analyzing every piece of Victor Gao's narrative?
That's a good point. There's a bit of selective emphasis. It's almost as if the reaction video is designed to, yeah, accentuate the drama surrounding the interview rather than delve deeply into every nuance of his argument.
I see what you mean. Exactly. It's a bit of a balancing act. On one hand, it wants to capture viewer interest with the sensational, and on the other hand, it aims to inform. But sometimes that trade off might, yeah, leave the audience wanting more depth on the actual interview content.
Definitely. And it made me wonder about the role of reaction videos in general. They're not just like side commentary, they're actively shaping public opinion by how they choose to frame and discuss these events.
Absolutely. Right, it's a kind of media echo chamber, but at the same time, it can serve as a critical lens on mainstream interviews. The reaction here, for example, touches on both the stylistic elements of the original interview and the technical aspects, like the transcript.
Yes, and what's unique is that it shows how even automated features like auto dubbed audio can, in a way, influence the reception of the content. It's like technology isn't just a tool, it's part of the commentary.
True enough, yeah. And that brings us to the question, how much does the medium shape the message? I mean, watching a reaction video on YouTube, complete with metadata and suggested related videos, really heightens the context in which we consume such interviews.
Great point there. It's reminiscent of how news cycles work, where the packaging, like view counts and suggested links, can sometimes be as influential as the content itself.
Exactly. And then there's also this interplay between the personality of the reactor, in this case, Ruben Tech, and the interview itself. His distinct style adds another dimension that draws viewers in beyond just the interview's subject matter.
Yes. It's like, his personality both amplifies and um, refracts the original content. You get this layer of commentary that says, hey, here's this intense interview, and here's my take on it, which in turn shapes how the audience perceives Victor Gao and Danny Haifeng's conversation.
I get you. It really is like a cascade. The original interview, the reaction, and then the additional content that pops up around it all. It's kind of meta, a reaction to a reaction sort of scenario when you consider the related recommendations.
Yeah, and it brings up an interesting critical point. As reaction content proliferates, how do we distinguish between genuine analysis and just another layer of hype? I mean, sometimes it feels like we're just feeding into a cycle of sensationalism.
That's a valid observation. Exactly. I mean, while the reaction video does a good job of sparking interest, it also risks oversimplifying some of the more nuanced points from the interview with Victor Gao.
True, there's a trade off. On one hand, it's accessible and makes things more enticing, but on the other hand, it can sometimes skim the surface rather than digging into the core issues.
And also, the moment when the reaction video encourages you to watch more by linking additional videos, like that Trump's new trade deals clip, is a smart move. But it can also steer the conversation in a particular direction.
Right, it's like a curated experience where you're guided to form opinions based on the broader narrative that's being selected by these recommendations.
Yep, definitely. And talking about narratives, the interview itself, while intense, gets refracted through this prism of reaction. So, do you think it enhances or undermines the original message?
Honestly, it's a bit of both. It enhances the reach, but sometimes it dilutes the original nuance because the focus shifts to the drama rather than the content.
I see what you're saying. Right, and I guess that's where the audience's media literacy comes in. If people are aware of these filters and curated experiences, they might be more critical about what they're actually absorbing.
Exactly. And it's almost like a reminder that in our digital age, even the way content is packaged, from metadata to auto-dubbed translations, adds layers of meaning that need to be unpacked.
Absolutely. It's fascinating, really, how a simple reaction video opens up such a broad analysis of media consumption, audience manipulation, and the interplay between technology and narrative.
Definitely. And the fact that the video is only about 27 minutes long, yet incorporates so many elements, from technical details to personal reactions, shows just how complex these digital commentaries have become.
Right, yeah. And one could argue that this form of reaction video actually democratizes media commentary. It lets viewers, in a way, be part of the conversation rather than just passive consumers.
That's an interesting point, but don't you think that sometimes by relying too heavily on reaction metrics like view count and recommended links, it might actually narrow the discussion to what's trending rather than what's truly insightful?
That's a point worth debating. Yeah, I can see that. There's a risk of prioritizing sensationalism over substance. However, the very act of reacting also invites a broader audience to critically engage with the content, which is a net positive in many cases.
True, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. On one side, you have increased accessibility and engagement, but on the other, there's the potential for oversimplification.
Right, exactly. And let's not forget the cultural impact. Like how these reaction videos, with their rapid edits and interspersed commentary, really mirror the fast-paced nature of today's digital information flow.
Yes, it's like a microcosm of our media landscape, chaotic, overlapping, and yet somehow incredibly informative if you know how to dig into it.
Absolutely. Overall, this reaction to the Victor Gao interview with Danny Haifeng is a prime example of modern media interplay, a blend of technology, presentation, and critical engagement that, when done well, can really stimulate a wider conversation about both content and context.
Definitely, and it's a reminder that every piece of content we consume is part of a much larger narrative tapestry, one that's shaped by both creators and reactors alike.
Yep, exactly.